I've had people tell me over the years, you ain't gonna do it. I've done it. It almost made me cry.
With the bow
In my hair,
I just
don't care.
He's our strength. He keeps us going every day because he reminds us that we have to be strong.
It's sometimes the smallest among us who provide the biggest inspiration. I'm Christina Watkins, and today we here at Stitch are so proud to introduce you to some of the bravest children and teens from all across the country, from hopeful turnaround stories to a family fighting for their baby's life, to the young entrepreneurs who give back. Here's Kelly Sasso with a heartwarming story to ring in today's show.
In the hospitals, superheroes not only wear capes, they ring bells. Dominic Drummond was just 2 years old when he was diagnosed with leukemia, and after 3 years of treatment, Dom and his family celebrated the moment he completed his final chemotherapy.
To the best breast patient always, especially including today. Dominic, you did amazing. We are so proud of you. We're so excited to be here with you today to celebrate this. I don't think I've seen a bigger group than this ever. And this is a testament to your community. And this is beautiful. This is wonderful.
Thank you guys.
We appreciate
We love all y'all for all the support and everything that y'all done. Stuff that some people don't know about, some stuff that people do. We just appreciate all the support. It's not been easy. I'm probably the one that hasn't talked about it amongst the two of us, because I try to treat him like just like any other kid, and we just appreciate and love y'all. I can't say too much more. I really can't. Just want to say thank you and we love y'all.
We love you, right back.
Alright, so Superman's gonna ring the bell.
Next, we'll introduce you to Ariona. Her life changed in mere seconds, but after seeing how far she's come, you'll know her story is just beginning.
In November of 2019, Ariona and her family were driving home from school when a drunk driver struck their car.
And all I heard was my son in the background talking about, "Mom, Mom, Mom." Her whole body just went limp in the back seat of the car.
Ariona suffered a traumatic brain and spinal cord injury, leaving her paralyzed and on a ventilator.
As a mother, to see your 6-year-old lively, energetic, bubbly, funny, goofy, and then see her laying in the bed and you don't know if she'll be able to do any of that.
But after 3 months of intense therapy, Ariona's personality and speech started to come back.
I took her shoes out.
And after 8 months, Ariona started to regain the use of her hands, legs, and toes.
I could not breathe when I was in the car accident, so I didn't feel very good. I'm holding my own card. I'm holding my own toothbrush.
With the bow
In my hair,
I just
don't care.
And this next story will have you cheering just like you're in the stands rooting for AJ Burns. He's a football player with special needs in his senior year of high school. This is the exact moment he made the play of a lifetime.
I said, we're going to put you as fullback and let you get in there and try to score the touchdown.
Well, I asked if he wanted to run the ball. He's like, yes. You know, he was excited. So, I mean, he knew what it was going to be like. He's not scared of contact, that's for sure.
When he pushed me in there and them boys started jumping on me, I dove into them and they dove into me, and I scored. It felt exciting. I've had people tell me over the years, you ain't gonna do it. I've done it. It almost made me cry.
We were all emotional, and you know, it probably changed everybody. Changed the way we felt, you know. kind of put things in perspective.
I'm proud to be a part of this team. I'm going to try to do more than what I usually do at practice so I can try to get in again and run the ball.
Now that is a play AJ and his teammates will not forget. And it shows the power we all have to make connections. Connections that could be life-saving, as we'll see in this next story. This teenager is trying to make asking for help easier.
In today's society, we crave perfection, we crave the flawless image. Frankly, we just need to get okay with being not okay. We need to accept our flaws and love ourselves no matter what. That's what this app is here for.
She went from a kid who could do anything and everything with her body to a kid who couldn't walk. It was really rough. She was a competitive gymnast for practically all her childhood, and then she decided to retire. She started having really bad headaches that would basically just completely shut her down. The second week of 9th grade, I get a call from the school nurse. They found her unconscious. It snowballed into every single day she was passing out. By 10:30, 11 o'clock, almost every day, I would be picking her up from school.
I was diagnosed with POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, and basically it just caused me to pass out or faint. When it got to the point where I couldn't walk most days, God, it was the worst feeling in the entire world. I was independent, I was strong, and then I needed help doing basic things like walking. In school, I was bullied because of it, I was harassed really badly, and I was even sexually threatened. It just caused me to spiral deeper and deeper into depression.
I witnessed her completely just wither away every single day. Her light just dimmed until one night I was about to go to bed. I stopped at the stairs and I said, "Go check on Hannah." I went upstairs and I opened her door and she had this handful of pills and she put it in her mouth really fast. I ran over to her and I grabbed her and I fished him out. And she's just like, "I don't want to be here anymore. I can't take it anymore," and everything. I'm like, "Why can't you talk to me? What's going on?" And she's just like, "I just wish there was a button I could press." It gutted me.
I realized that I had to make a change. I never wanted to see that look of horror on my mom's face. I needed something that I could use for both my mental illness and my chronic illness. And that's when I came up with the idea for the Not Okay app.
The Not Okay app is essentially a digital panic button that, when pressed, it sends a text message to your pre-selected up to 5 closest contacts with your current GPS location and directions. My initial reaction when Hannah told me about her idea for the app was, and I quote, "Let's go." Because this was one of the only things that I could actually help her with. When I was 7, I taught myself how to program and how to build apps, because I didn't want to do the over summer workbooks that my mom made us do, and I was basically just bored. So on that very day, I started working on the wireframe and the workflow.
When we first created the app, we didn't really know what it was going to be. I was just like, "I want a button," and Charlie's like, "More."
The app, it was actually made just for Hannah. They were like, "We need something for Hannah." But to have over 100,000 downloads, this is obviously not just for Hannah. By them creating this app and by them becoming advocates, it opens the door for everyone else to sort of talk about what they're going through.
The feedback has just been absolutely phenomenal. Recently, someone DM'd Charlie and I on Instagram. She said, "Thank you so much for creating this app. You saved my life so many times throughout the years." I was just speechless. I mean, I'm just thinking about it now. I'm speechless. It gives me hope. I feel like this app is important because it takes all of the guesswork out of asking for help. It's okay to be not okay. It's okay to ask for help, because when you get that help, you'll be so much better because of it.
Welcome back. When JT Borofka was born, he was a seemingly healthy baby boy. But by 6 months old, he received a diagnosis. that set his family on a mission to save his life.
It's so rare that there's only, as far as we know, there's just a little over 60 cases ever reported in the history of medical science. Right now, I think he's one of 5 in the US.
JT suffers from a rare genetic disorder called TPI deficiency.
Everybody has TPI in their body to survive. It's basically processed sugars in the body, and his TPI levels are extremely low.
It might not sound like a big deal when your body can't break down sugars, but when one function of your body is not able to do something, it affects everything else. For him, it comes, down to his muscles being weak because he can't process food. His lungs and his diaphragm completely stop working because this disease can affect so many body parts.
When JT was born, there was no sign anything was wrong.
Seeing his pediatrician at his 2-month checkup, and she noticed he was kind of pale. She did a test and noticed his hemoglobin level was extremely low and it was dangerous. So we need to go to Stanford Hospital. We went up 2 days later and we were waiting for test results from the blood test that Stanford took. When they came up on the computer, she was like, oh my God, he needs a blood transfusion immediately. And next thing we know, we're in the hospital. They were scrambling to figure out what's wrong with him. I remember there was a counselor with him, and I just knew right there something was wrong. And he basically said, JT has 2 to 5 years to live, and there's no cure. There's nothing we can do. It was about as tough as you can imagine. When they tell you your kid has 2 to 5 years and that he looks perfectly normal and he's going to be normal, and they're telling you he's going to be normal up until this one point, and then all of a sudden he's going to be paralyzed and breathing through a tube and won't be able to move. That's like the scariest thing in the world. And then that's exactly what happened to JT. Right after his first birthday, he got a really extremely bad stomach virus. And from that day on,
that stomach virus, it just knocked him on his little diaper butt, and next thing you know, his diaphragm's not working, and he's like running a marathon every day, because if your diaphragm's not moving, you're breathing with just your lungs, and it was a lot of work for him.
we found ourselves in the hospital realizing that he was going to have to be breathing through a tube and eating through a tube, and he won't ever be able to talk. He did get to say mom, but I never got to really hear him say dad, and that was it. Now he's just how he is now.
The disease is so rare, there's only one laboratory in the world working to find a cure.
Now we have hope. Dr. Mike Palladino and his team and the University of Pittsburgh, they're gonna find some answers for us, and that gives us a lot of hope. A lot of hope.
In 2019, the Borofkas made the trip from California to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to meet the team working to save their son and children like him.
We've always wanted to cure this disease, but meeting a patient, especially one this young and adorable, it's really quite motivating.
Dr. Palladino says finding a cure for TPI deficiency is possible. The issue is lack of resources.
We know at a very molecular level what's wrong, and we know what kinds of drugs should work. So we have some direction in our research. It gives us all a lot of hope that we can get there and not just get there for TPI deficiency, but get there in time for JT.
So there are a lot of challenges, funding being one of them. There's no foundations for this particular disease. With so few patients in this country, all this work needs to be done privately. It's hard to find pharmaceutical companies to partner with, which is often how some of the safety studies and toxicity studies are often paid for.
There's just never going to be a profit margin in treatment for a disease that has so few patients.
The Borofkas have thrown all their efforts behind fundraising.
100% of the money is going to JT, and we are funding a lab in Pittsburgh, and that's where we're sending all the money, and that's going to ultimately find the cure to save our son. The first fundraiser was a pizza place fundraiser. We had donations and all set up. We were expecting some people. We were expecting hopefully to make $5,000. I think we ended up with like
Close to
30,000.
The family has raised money at concerts, sports games. They've even worked with MMA fighters to raise awareness about TPI deficiency.
It has been completely unbelievable how many people have stepped up for our kid. I have people saying they're going to throw fundraisers all over the U.S. I mean, everywhere. Like, it was insane.
Unfortunately, when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, the consequences for JT and his family were dire. How they adapt when we come back.
Welcome back. We know the pandemic affected all of our lives, but for the Borofka family, putting a pause on research and fundraising for their son's rare disease could have severe and heartbreaking consequences. Kelly Sasso has more.
When the Borofkas aren't taking care of their young son JT, they're raising money for his extremely rare disease, TPI deficiency. Unfortunately, the pandemic has halted some of those efforts.
We were on a roll coming out of the wintertime, ready for our spring events and fundraising for JT. And then COVID showed up and it was just unbelievable. Everything just shut down. I remember canceling the big golf tournament we had for him. We had everything lined up. We had celebrities. It was just amazing. And it was going to be a big fundraiser for the lab.
Even more frustrating, the pandemic meant the lab had to cease operations, delaying finding a cure.
The day that really hit us was when I was afraid to call the lab, but they called us and basically told us that there's no one working in there right now and there's nothing. And at that point, we realized that the hope was just all of a sudden ripped away from us. And every day is like a year for him. He needs help now. We can't get those months back that we lost.
Eventually, the lab was able to reopen by taking the necessary precautions, but fundraising in a pandemic continues to be a challenge. In the midst of it all, though, the Borofkas celebrated a major milestone, JT's second birthday.
Happy birthday, JT!
For Jason and Tara, JT's second birthday was a sign of hope.
We have a lot of friends that are really close and they'll do anything for us and they're always there and they're not afraid to give us a call even in the toughest times and support us. And then there's JT, you know, he's so cute and he's just like, he's a handsome little dude. Even when he's having a tough time, he can snap back around and smile and laugh or something.
He's our strength. He keeps us going every day because he reminds us that we have to be strong. Families are always going to have challenges, going ups and downs, and dealing with a sick child is probably the hardest thing you will ever have to do.
I've gotten to know Jason and Tara very well, and I feel for them. This is a painful disease, and they're always very gracious that my lab working on this gives them a glimmer of hope, and that means a lot to me. But in the end, I know the sheer amount of work and good fortune that must happen in order for all the stars to align to find a treatment in time. We're going to continue to work as hard as we can every day. We're confident that we know enough about this disease that it can be cured. It just takes time, and all we can do is work as hard as we can every day.
For more information on the Borofkas or to help JT in his fight, head to savejt.com. We'd like to leave you with one last sweet treat. This young woman becoming quite the entrepreneur and philanthropist.
It's a very unique experience owning a business with my daughter, especially with her being 15 and a half. It's a great working relationship. It's always a mom and daughter working relationship, so we're brutally honest with one another. If it doesn't look right, Layla will say, "That's not right, that doesn't look good, you need to do better than that." And I'm like, okay, let me get better.
My name is Layla Wallace. I am 15 and I'm the owner of Layla's Cool Pops.
In the 4th grade, Layla had an economics project where they had to decide on a product to make, and then they had to look at the economics of making and selling products at that time. And so she chose to make cookie pops. She thought they looked fun, they looked pretty easy, and she said, "Let me try this, let's see what happens." And when she brought them into school, they sold really, really well. And she said, "Fine, I'll just start a business." And we said, okay.
My dad started a business a couple years before I did, and he kind of inspired me to do something. He was just doing so many cool things, and I was like, I want to try all of that. Like, I want to see how like a big idea can come into something really great. And I knew whatever I wanted to do, it had to help somebody else.
Layla has always had a heart for other people. It pained her heart to see other people in need. And so one element of Layla's Cool Pops is that 10% of her proceeds go to benefit either a homeless organization or an organization that provides support to our vulnerable populations within our community. One of her ultimate goals, though, is to purchase a home for homeless families and to provide a supportive environment where they can move from housing instability to a place of stability.
It would be something that actually could help them a lot, and it saved them a lot of money when it comes to housing. And so that was important to me to get them off the streets.
Initially, we'd planned on opening up and having regular business hours. With COVID-19, it caused us to have to rethink how are we going to go about doing business. And we said, well, curbside pickup makes sense. I believe that curbside pickup is not only convenient, but it's fast, it's safe, and it's a way for us to make sure that we can maintain the integrity of our product so that we know exactly what we're making and how much we need to make. And so that's one of the things that's really helped us to kind of pivot and move forward during this time. It's definitely a balancing act because I do have to step in and be mom sometimes. So there's some days when they have to come down hard. Other times we're laughing and we're joking and we're having a blast just doing what we're doing.
It's amazing. I love spending time with my mom. She's just such a good motivator, and she continues to push me to be better. I can't wait to keep growing with her because I know she'll always be by my side.
I think my favorite part of coming to work each day is really just spending this time with my daughter. I mean, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity and experience. And the fact that we get to work together to create and develop a business and have a positive impact on our community is huge. That's what makes it all worth it.
We hope you found the stories from this incredible bunch of young people moving, inspiring, and hopeful. From all of us here at Stitch, thank you so much for watching.